I'd like to take this occasion to thank all of the Periscope live stream community that engaged with me in January and February of 2020 on this Vietnam quest. Je voudrais remercier la communauté Periscope qui a participé avec moi durant cette tournée au Vietnam.
Okay. Let's have a look at this. And moving along. Wait a minute. Please go this way. Okay. So I don't know if I did the tour or not, but if I did, you know, I got a sense of how harsh things could have been just by wandering through here fairly quickly. And it's really, I know that when Vietnamese ask me where I've seen or if I've been to the museum, the prison museum is part of that typical question. And I think the reason is that because there was a lot of suffering that was spread around, and that almost no family that was left untouched by this kind of suffering. So it's ingrained in their history and ingrained in their culture, and something that was imposed on them. And it's like you treated people from here like this, and so lest ye forget, like the way that the Holocaust was never forget. I think that there are echoes of that in the fact that you should do a homage to this museum, this former prison, when you do come to Hanoi, because it's indelible. It is it's part of their history, and possibly and likely part of the reconciliation, because you don't sense a lot of resentment. You just sense a lot of gravity, like it was a grave time. It was a grave situation to be incarcerated here. So that looks like an oven. So I don't know if it was a crematorium, but it looks like some kind. If we don't learn, yes, that is something that gets mentioned often. So I'm just gonna scooch by. Okay. So here's another bronze. So it looks very, very serious. Every face. So yeah, corporal punishment is, speaking of which, the baton was similar to that I saw that the police used, although they're kind of plastic. They might be hollow, and they're just meant to more or less, exact a little bit of authoritative punishment on minor infraction lawbreakers. Because I saw a policeman hit somebody on a bike that was doing a maneuver they shouldn't have been, and they did not stop for the police when they were called aside. So it looks like certain things have not completely disappeared. But yeah, this is not a pretty sight. I kind of wanted to avoid coming here because what happens is sometimes, like when the message is a little too serious and dour and grave, it kind of like, it can linger with a person for a while, and you like, do you really want to have that carrying with you? But I think it's important. I think it's a small sacrifice that I can make in my day. And I think you guys too, the fact that you're here and you're interested means that, because we're almost at the gift shop, so this is the last look that we have of the thing. And now it's very colorful gift shop, which is like a very contrast to where we've just been. Guys, I did not find the oubliette. I don't know if there's an oubliette. I was hoping there would be an oubliette. I have a thing about oubliettes. Um, so so yeah, no, we didn't find the oubliette if there was one. No, in fact, it was colonialism that established this prison, God's Army of One. It was French, Indo-Chinese or Indochin colonialism that established this prison. And after the communists came into power, they just, took over the administration of the building and they ran it the way that they chose to run it. But its history goes a lot further back than the Vietnam War, when the communists were here. So, yeah, um, I would say there's a lot more significance to what happened here when the French were in charge. My rat's name was Oublietta. Okay, that far back, I didn't know that. Yeah, like a century and 50, a century and a half ago, the French started establishing themselves in these parts. Oh wait, there's this interesting wall painting, and I'm not sure what it represents because there's trees, and it doesn't look unpleasant. It doesn't look as dour and as serious as what the museum was like. So okay, so this is early morning exercises. I need to stretch. This is corporal punishment. What did you do? And this is giving giving you the finger. I don't know what. Oh, it will put the thing in the basket or it gets the hose. Um, I'm not sure what that means. Is put them up, put them up, put them up. So I'm not sure what is being demonstrated. You knew the French were at war before the U.S. and had got butt kicked just like we did. Well, they weren't at war. They were actually they colonized this place. They built a lot of stuff. They basically took over in a sense that they took over commerce. They took over whatever was agriculture in this part, and this was like a hub or a port. I think it was like a port. I'm not sure. No, it's inland, but it was a center where harvests got distributed out. So whatever uh, was harvested had to go through middlemen and or who was in charge of the colonists. So the people that occupied land, they had to kind of pay rent by tilling the land, growing products, and getting a fraction of what a fraction of what it was worth, and the colonists were making the profits and bringing it back home. You're welcome. So, xin chào, xin chào. And so there were hold on a second. I'm looking for my words. Successive governors of this colony, which in France was known as Indochine, Indochina. And so, the first one really set the rules, and he really shafted the locals. So even after time, like people that wanted to raise themselves up were kind of prohibited from being their own self-employed people. They only allowed that to like Chinese middlemen and other people, but they felt that the locals were not worthy of much except to like shut up and till the land and bring us the yield, and we might give you scraps. That's my little version of what happened here, and that's what colonization brought. I mean, they brought a lot of architecture, but it was for their own benefit, not for the benefit of the Vietnamese. They ended up inheriting, the bridges, the engineering, and some of the European culture that you find in all the buildings, but they did not benefit from that. Wealthy mucky mucks did. So that's part of the history that I guess you weren't aware of, and hopefully you are now. And I'm not an expert, by the way. I just did a little bit of research on it prior to coming here. And I knew it was like somewhat dour, and I really didn't want to dwell too much on the. Hey, God's Army of One, pleasure, my pleasure, because we can pretty well say we've done this place justice. And yes, partially the ghost of John McCain is tied to this place, which is tied to American folklore. So that I know is very important to Americans back home. And I don't know what is it we do in the old movies, um, the old World War II movies and the like. We give a salute to the memory of John McCain. How fitting! Nice flowers. Oh, by the way, New Year's is coming, and New Year's is big here. I mean, New Year's is big like the way that New Year's is big. Oh, there's a different exhibit. New Year's is, Thanksgiving and Christmas is big in North America and Europe because this is when families get together and friends. When is this? Well, I think the presence of the French go back 150 years. This is when they began to colonize Vietnam, a bit of Laos, and maybe Cambodia. Interesting. I have a watch that looks like that. I swear, I do. I have a blue watch that looks like that. A canteen. So, and then when the communists took over from the French colonists, because at some point they were ejected from these parts, then the communists came into power, and then they took over the administration of this jail. More potted plants. So I don't know what leads into here, but oh, this is strange. I don't think this is part of the exhibit. I think this is like the utility closet for staff only, except that there's no message on the door, and I don't know if I have a signal because I only see 13 people here. So let's look at this sentry box mirror door. I didn't see any comments, so maybe we ran out of signal. I see hearts. Okay, so I think this probably we here. Okay, good army one. Because when it gets quiet and you're in a high walled place with thick stone, sometimes the signal is crummy and it cuts the broadcast, and you aren't even aware of it until like 5 minutes later. So I'm glad I checked with you guys just to make sure. So I think that's Uncle Ho. I'm not sure. Hey, Scream 100. Our fellow. So yeah, this is like a declaration. So 1946, I think, is when the communists took over. And there you go, 1954. Bonjour à tous, Scream. Ah oui, c'est vrai, vous êtes francophone. On s'est déjà parlé ici et là. So yeah, in around the 30s, I guess, is when the French lost control, but I really can't be specific to that date. Other than that, they see it posted there, so it looks official. It looks official. Is that where the ticket booth is? And it's selfie time.